What were some of the friends telling you when they first got your bread? Were they just like, holy shit, this is some bomb ass bread?
Yeah, definitely encouraging. Yeah, they were very encouraging. And again, for just me kind of barely learning, I think it just was like great feedback. They enjoyed it. They were happy. So that was encouraging. It would have sucked. And then be like, this sucks.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Line Check podcast. It's me, Brendan Villarreal, your host. And today I'm in the studio with Arturo of Gusto Bread. How's it going?
Good. It's going good. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. How's your day today?
It was pleasant. It was a really nice Sunday.
That's awesome. That's always good to hear. I'm sure you guys all know who Gusto Bread is. They're located on 4th Street and like Temple-ish, right?
Yeah, in between Temple and Ohio.
Yeah. They've been there for about
3 years now. We opened in August 2020.
They're basically a brick and mortar bakery that started in their own house. That was like Eastside Long Beach. Kind of.
I think downtown Wilmore district.
Yeah. Baked out of his house and then opened up the brick and mortar three years ago. They're a big staple in Long Beach, and just like a perfect example of a small business starting off small and then making something out of it and being something really impactful in the community. So it's really cool to have Arturo here in the house today. So cheers to that.
Cheers. Thank you.
So this whole podcast episode, I just wanted to get people to know more about who you are and your roots, how you started baking, and the story of Gusto.
Awesome.
So yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Let's see. I grew up in a small town called Lebec, California, near the Grapevine, in between Bakersfield and Lancaster. It's just a small town off the 5. My parents are both from Mexico. My mom's from Chihuahua, northern Mexico. My dad's from Mexico City, and they immigrated here to the United States. A lot of my uncles on my dad's side actually immigrated to Long Beach, and so Long Beach is a place I grew up coming to as a kid from that small town. Like if we ever went to the city, that was Long Beach for me, you know. And so it was kind of always like a second home. So when I was a kid, sometimes I'd want to spend summer here, like from school breaks. I'd be like, I just want to be in Long Beach and stay with some cousins, and I just grab my skateboard and skate throughout the city. And just loved it. It just felt like home. So naturally, after high school, I just said I'm just moving to Long Beach, and I've been here ever since. That was in 2008 when I moved here.
Wow. It's a while ago. I was just looking at things that happened in 2008, or it was more like music, like albums that came out in that era, and I was like, dang, the album's old now.
Yeah.
Like it feels still relevant to myself.
Which one did you
it was like Beach House. I think it was the one Zebra on it. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, that's old now because it's 24 right now. So who knows where time's going by, but yeah.
Time flies.
I used to do that too when I got out of high school because I graduated in 2010. And I've always lived in Long Beach, but I live more by like Sill Beach, like weird Los Alamitos, Long Beach area, which is like nowhere near where we're at right now. And I'd always skate down to like 4th Street and just like look around and see all the small businesses and shops. And it's like completely different from, just that short time ago.
Totally. Yeah.
A lot of places not there anymore. And yeah, like there used to be a surf shop on 4th Street.
Yeah. Forget the name of it, but yeah, you're right. I think the owner actually across the street, the mechanic, she owned it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really cool shop. There's actually another surf shop on 4th Street now. And it's like
really?
a skateboard shop and a surf shop, and they have wax. If anyone surfs and you need wax, you can go there. I'm dipping out on the name right now.
Hmm.
But yeah, old times, good times. Um, so why don't you tell us a little bit about the ethos of Gusto?
Gusto bread is an artisanal panaderia that came about with wanting to feed people nutritious food made with I guess rooted in like our ancestors techniques and findings, things like sourdough and things like nixtamal, which is cooking corn and turning it into a dough, which is an old Mesoamerican food.
Hmm.
um, so things like that is kind of what we based our gusto bread on. um, and yeah, we're just really here to serve our community good food.
Hmm.
And I'm a self-taught baker, so my journey has been unfolding just through like things, I guess my own curiosities about food and relating to it.
Hmm. When did you start getting into baking?
I got into baking in 2013 officially, and that was in downtown Long Beach. I moved in this house that had a earthen oven in the backyard. This fellow Rick Barry, he passed away unfortunately a few years ago, but he was a super like grassroots member of the community. He was super involved in like forming all sorts of like sustainable practices for the
Hmm.
city and things like that. So it was really cool to live on his property because he had this whole ecosystem in his garden, and he had built this earthen oven with the help of this other fellow Ty Tessir who lived there, and they orchestrated this oven building with other members of the community. So I'd kind of known about this home, and it was really cool when I moved there because I was like, oh, that's that home, and I knew about that oven.
Hmm.
I had no real like I guess path in baking or like food per se. Um, but when I lived on that property, something about it just really called me to use that oven. I kind of relate it sometimes to like the fact that it was wood fired. Me growing up in a small town chopping wood with my dad, I think that was like something that I kind of missed living in
Hmm.
Long Beach. So what I did is I brought a bunch of wood from back home, brought it to Long Beach, chopped it,
Hmm.
and fired the oven. And just kind of got some books on baking. Ty, the neighbor who had helped build the oven, he lent me a stack of books too, and one of them was about wood fired ovens too, and that was like my Bible. I just kind of
Hmm.
just went off that. I learned so much off that book alone.
Wow, that's so cool.
Hmm.
That's crazy that you started baking in 2013, and in that short amount of time, you're able to do so much. And like, I've been to your house when you were baking out of there, and it's a beautiful home, and you had your whole like uh ovens and downstairs before, and
Hmm.
it's like
That was a second home. That
yeah,
was the home I evolved. I guess
yeah,
we ended up moving into a
okay,
second, but the prior one when
yeah.
I learned to bake was a different property.
Oh, got it, got
But
it.
yeah,
Yeah, that's awesome though. Yeah, I mean the mind. I was just gonna say because like I know you love music, and it's almost like if you went somewhere to like your grandma's home and there's like a guitar there that was maybe like your grandpa's or someone that used to play it, but they don't play it anymore, but it's just sitting there. And then you have like, it's different now because kids, they have like iPads and cell phones and all that and TV. But back then we only had a TV and, there's only cartoons on when, cartoons are on.
sure.
So there's like a guitar there, and then you have curiosity to pick it up and
Kind
try
of.
and play the guitar. And I feel like that's kind of the same way you maybe felt with the oven.
I think so. Yeah, I can't say exactly what it was, but it
Yeah.
was something that I felt called to do. And yeah, it was an inspiration, sort of a curiosity. And yeah, it's wild to think that had I not moved to that property, I probably wouldn't have become a baker.
Yeah. Whoa.
I
What would you be doing right now? What do you think?
have no maybe just
Maybe.
playing music, being
Music.
in bands, still
Yeah.
like continuing that's that's my passion, definitely, like just exploring the arts for
Yeah.
sure.
What are some of your favorite bands right now?
Mm, you know, I really like Kurt Vile. I've been listening to a lot of Kurt Vile.
Yeah, I love Kurt Vile.
He just released an album recently, Back to the Moon Beach, and
Hmm.
so yeah, he's really cool. Laraji, I saw him live here in Los Angeles. He came to do a show. That was cool. Yeah, I don't know. Andre 3000, his new album and
Yeah.
stuff, like amazing. Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, I see.
yeah.
Yeah, Kurt Vile, he's like a one man band, right? Because he uses like guitar pedals or a lot of loops. At least from what I've seen, like in the early day, I don't know anymore. I'm sure he plays with
Mm.
a band, but mm,
His sounds definitely
yeah.
evolved. I wasn't familiar with him actually until like about probably like 3 years ago or
Hmm.
something. I saw him at a festival, and then yeah, I've listened to his older stuff. I'm like, oh wow, it's
Yeah.
very different. It's definitely evolving, but yeah, he definitely, it's like psychedelic dad rock for sure
Mhm.
or
Yeah,
something.
it's very like natural too, and like very clean guitar
Hmm.
with a little bit of psychedelic in it. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so after you started baking bread, what was like your thought process once you like got it moving? You're like, okay, I know how to make a good sourdough right now. Like, what happens next? Were you already thinking about like I'm gonna start a business, or is it more so I'm just like making bread because it's fun and it tastes good and I'm having a good time doing this at home?
I think honestly it was kind of both in a way. So the way I would explain it is, it was so much effort and energy to get this oven, like when I was learning,
Hmm.
to chop the wood, fire the oven, source the grain, ferment the dough. That was like, very, very involved. So that oven could fit 6 loaves of bread at a time for the size that I was doing. So obviously that's like too much bread for just me
Hmm.
and Anna at home. So I was like, okay, I need to find other people. So I would first start by sharing it with friends, and then eventually, like, yeah, friends would want to like order it. So it
Hmm.
just kind of naturally was like, oh, okay, cool. This is, people will pay for this bread. Like my friends support it, and then it kind of that definitely was inspiring. And then I started definitely having visions or dreams about a bakery.
Hmm.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Um, what were some of the friends telling you when they first got your bread? Were they just like, "Holy shit, this is some bomb ass bread"?
Yeah, definitely encouraging. Yeah, they were very encouraging. And again, for just me kind of barely learning, I think it just was like great, great feedback. They enjoyed it. They were happy. So that was encouraging. It would have
Yeah,
sucked and then been
yeah,
like, this
yeah,
bread sucks.
yeah. He's like, I never heard back from them again
They're
after
not
I
my friends
delivered the
anymore.
bread. So when did you move to the second house and then you built that whole like bakery downstairs?
That was, when did we move there? I think it was like 27. It was 2017, early
Hmm.
2017. So about 3-ish, 4 years later from baking with the wood oven. And that in itself kind of gained a little um, following. I had created this like newsletter list, and it was kind of secret. It was only like you could sign up for the newsletter if you knew someone else who gave it to you
Hmm.
or something.
Yeah.
And that project I called Emmy Lou Cobb. For some reason, I just named the oven Emmy Lou.
Uh-huh.
Just kind of like, oh, this will be a fun name for an oven. And so that thing kind of already built like a customer base in a way. It kind of connected me to locals that were interested in this bread. And then I wasn't sure what was next for like my baking path. At that point, I definitely knew like I want to build a bakery. I want, to pursue that. But, not having the funds, not knowing
Hmm.
where to start. It was also new to me. It was like, okay, what do I do next? And I kind of went on like a soul searching journey. And I was actually considering moving out of Long Beach to like pursue this baking path. And uh, while I was out in Vermont for a little bit baking, and I took a course out there too, it kind of occurred to me that like I'm coming back to Long Beach and I'm starting Gusto Bread. It kind of
Hmm.
like just kind of something clicked and told Anna like, hey, I'm gonna move back there, or whatever. We'll go back and we'll start this home bakery project, and
That's how it
yeah,
started.
it's kind of how that started. It, yeah.
How did you come up with gusto bread? I mean, it's pretty, it's good in Spanish, so it's pretty easy. But were
The
you just
name.
like, was just
Well,
that pretty like already sold?
um, I think the name came to me in Spanish actually, but I like the phrase or the word in English too,
Hmm.
gusto.
Hmm.
Like it
Yeah.
means like something doing something gracefully or with like artistic expression. So I like that. I think bread is very much can be that way,
Oh yeah.
and gusto has several meanings in Spanish too, like mucho gusto, like pleasure, taste, things like that.
Hmm.
So it has those qualities. So I like the interchangeable in the
Yeah.
language in English or Spanish, the meaning behind it. But it was one day when we hadn't quite come up with a name. Me and Anna were like still trying to decide on something. I'd run by ideas with her, and then there was this song that came on that one of our neighbors was bumping pretty loud in Spanish. Like I think it was like a Sunday, the whole neighborhood cleans their
Yeah.
home and it's just bumping music. And it's this song, Un Puño de Tierra. Um, Ramon Ayala covered it, and he's the one who popularized the
Hmm.
song. And it has this phrase like "Hay que darle gusto al gusto," and that phrase, like he's already kind of using that play on words of what gusto can mean. And I was like, I just kind of had that epiphany, like gusto. That's like really cool. And so yeah, it was kind of
Damn, that's cool. Wow. Music.
right.
I, I I always look to music when I'm writing something, or I used to write poetry, so I'd always listen to music to get like inspiration. I mean, I listen to like sad music or depending on the mood, and also like that can go in hand with just like anything else of just having like a epiphany of thoughts that like help drive it to go somewhere.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when you surrender, like even as a songwriter or something, if you just surrender yourself to like the songwriting experience, whatever is flowing, it's really unique. And I
Hmm.
think music speaks to us,
Hmm.
and then as listeners, it means different things to people too, right? People have an experience with the sounds, with the lyrics, with all this stuff, and
100%. Yeah, it's funny when I'm gonna say it's my partner Sasha, but she doesn't like to listen to sad music. And I love to listen to sad music because it makes you feel like deep feelings that you can't really get sometimes, or you'll be like in your head about it. But if you like really listen to like sad songs, it'll make you feel something, and like you said, surrender your emotions to it, and you feel the whole weight of the song. And I love that feeling, even though it makes me sad. But I think it's something that everyone should feel, because you can't always be happy all the time. Sometimes you have to be a little sad, and it's okay. And then after you're done with that song, then you put on a happy song and then you're happy.
it's like a reality check.
Yeah, exactly. So after you got the idea for Gusto, um, what was the next move after that? Just trying to get a brick and mortar.
Yeah, essentially we were focused on just actually it started in this one corner of this other home we relocated to, which when we phased out of the Emmylou project,
Hmm.
which is the wood fired oven. Then we started Gusto Bread. I got this one small Rofco oven. They're really popular nowadays in the baking community. Um, they're Belgian ovens with like stones. They're perfect for bread making. They make excellent bread. So I had learned about those, and I was like, I'm definitely getting one of those. Saved up to buy one of those, and then that was like the initial investment into Gusto. It's pretty wild because, um, I didn't have anything before that. I was like
Yeah.
just like saved up everything I could from the loaves that I had sold before, and yeah. So, anyways, it was like starting this one corner of like a breakfast nook sort of that the
Hmm.
house had. It was like this corner, it had like a little wall. I was like, oh, that's a perfect area to set this oven up, set my station up. and then eventually I had to get a second oven to like meet the demand, and then eventually a huge mixer like for that house.
Yeah.
I had to actually like get electricians in and
Dang.
stuff, and then I had to do some plumbing work to get like the water filtration. I just kept growing, and then yeah, like when you saw it, you
Mhm.
came. I had already built that whole
Yeah.
bottom floor into the bakery essentially. Like there was already speed rack in there, fridges.
Mhm.
So I was like steadily growing the cottage food business, and then yeah, it was like really we hit a place where like we can't keep growing. I can't keep lugging flour into this house and upstairs like hundreds of pounds. Like
Yeah.
so, it was just like our next step was finding a location. But again, it's so hard, when you don't know what to do. And
It's very hard.
but something magical happened. The city of Long Beach, the Long Beach Economic Development Center. Um, I don't remember who connected me or how that happened, but there was. Jeez, I should remember, but that was important. But it was
Shout out to
so,
you,
yeah,
whoever you are, if you're listening.
yeah. Shout out to them for sure. They ran this program that was like for small people of color businesses, and it kind of connected us, like a bunch of us. Actually, someone from Ambitious House was there too. Juan, I think Juan is. You know Juan?
There it does.
Yeah. And so I met a lot of cool people there, and then eventually we had to present like a business plan, and like they helped us kind of flesh out a business plan idea and like growth plans, things like that. And it was really cool to have this cohort, this group of people you connected with
Mhm.
that were small businesses going through the same sort of challenges of like what's next and
Mhm.
things like that. Um, and then they had us present, you know, our plan and things like that, and then connected us with a mentor. And I was connected with Kasten. She ended up being my mentor, which was
Mhm.
cool. As I was selling her bread for Gusto bread at Berlin at the time,
Oh, okay.
and she, after that presentation, a little while later, she had just acquired the property that we're at now. So she had told me, hey, I think great plan, like love your bread, like I might have a spot for you if you're interested. So it kind of was serendipitous. It kind of just opened up at the right time,
Mhm.
and they partnered me with the right person too.
Yes.
So it was all pretty wild. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's really hard to find a spot in Long Beach, especially on 4th Street. So
Yeah.
that's crazy. And I remember a long time ago, you were telling me um, you're just ready to separate like work from your like house, because you lived upstairs and you like, okay, I'm like at work at home at the same time.
Yeah.
So it was like a little like, it's hard to have a work life balance.
Definitely
Yeah.
is. And I was able to separate it. However, now I'm still really close to the
Yeah.
bakery, so
Yeah.
it's still like a little bit of that, but at least I'm not in the same
Yeah. In the
building.
same building.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's awesome. What's really cool is you're talking about the help to for small businesses.
Mhm.
I'm actually attending the Long Beach Alliance, and they're helping people that are interested in starting small businesses by just like helping them plan out a business plan and
Hmm.
all that other stuff, and it's like free. So it's just like anyone that wants to attend. It's on 3rd Street. I forget the name of it, but it's just cool that City of Long Beach has all these resources out there to help anybody, whatever it is. You just have to find it. Sometimes they're hard to find, but if anyone's looking to start a small business, they have that as a resource. So you should check it out.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's still you're available to sign up, but next year they do it every year. So, you
There's a
know,
lot of resources. Yeah, I encourage people to search, like probably visit longbeach.gov or whatever,
hmm
or even the SBDC. They have Small Business Development Center. I think in Long Beach City College they have
hmm
free services too. You can sign up
yeah,
for. So I encourage people to definitely go there for sure if they
yeah.
have an interest in.
Anyone aspiring doesn't have to be a restaurant. It could be
Yeah, literally anything.
anything.
Yeah.
Dog washing,
Hmm. Yeah.
anything.
Dog grooming.
Yeah, yeah, grooming. Yeah, there you go. So you opened up at the 4th Street location, and
Mhm.
then And then now you have a added on space to it, which you just
We
yeah.
remodeled. We our building is really unique. It's really like narrow and wide.
Hmm.
But at one point in time, I guess there was a wall that divided the two rooms and created two rooms. And so, there was when we first opened there was a jeweler there. Her lease ended, and she ended up, moving, I think, her business elsewhere. And we took over the lease. And when we, started redesigning, like remodeling, we were definitely in need in a way too, because we were working with such a tight
It's
space.
very tiny, and you have like lines all the time.
Yeah,
And
there would be definitely when there was like rushes, it was just like, oh wow, okay, we can't fit so many
yeah, and
people back.
there's like there's one register, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, one
exactly.
register. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was just kind of like we're really tight, and we're like, okay, we have the chance to now expand and redesign this whole counter. So totally jumped on that opportunity, and we're really thoughtful about like, how we can have the most counter
Hmm.
space, because we didn't have a lot of that prior. So yeah, we're really grateful when we knocked the wall down. We kind of saw like the expansive space, and it's so unique. Like again, I'm kind of seeing the qualities of that building. Like wow, it feels like it was probably originally designed that way.
Yeah, it probably was. I mean,
Yeah,
it looks beautiful in there. So congratulations on the new space,
thanks.
and also congratulations on the beans.
The
Not
frijoles.
pinto beans or talking about coffee beans. Can you
Thanks.
tell me a little bit about that? Like, how did that process start?
Yeah, essentially, yeah, we started Cafe Cuate, a roasting company, and that I never, again, same like bacon. I never thought I'd get into roasting coffee. Um, in fact, because it's such a commodity, I think sometimes you're just like, especially Anna, she was a little more. She might not like that I'm saying this, but she was more like, never getting in the coffee. Why would we? So our coffee was limited even from the start, right? Because first of all, we didn't want to become as a bakery like a coffee shop. We wanted to be our bread
Hmm.
bakery, which is what definitely I think we specialize in, and so that was always the primary focus for us. So, in a way, like coffee wasn't important. However, when we did offer a drink like coffee, we wanted to make something that was unique to us and our culture. So we've always served café de olla, for example,
Hmm.
which is like coffee that you grind kind of coarsely, like in like sort of like a French press, like or a kosher salt sort of texture, and you just brew that in a pot with spices, strain it. You can use piloncillo, which is like a raw cane sugar, and that's just like traditional. I grew up drinking that, especially when I'd visit Mexico, and it's really nostalgic. So it's really awesome to offer it at our shop. But with that Rose Park, shout out to Rose Park. They
Also,
we
we're drinking Central Perk right now, which has Rose Park beans in here.
yeah, it looks like
So
here like
yeah, it's a
Guatemala
big
coffee.
community hub
Yeah,
right now.
totally. I love Rose Park's awesome. Andrew and Nathan, really sweet people, super generous. But they essentially worked with them on our coffee to source that, and um, Andrew came by one time he wants to really he helps you engage with like
Mhm.
the coffee, and so he wanted to know like what profiles we were looking for, and so I'd cupped with him to select the coffee we wanted to work with, and he brought a bunch of coffees from Mexico, and that started like piquing my interest. I was like, wow, this is really cool to like engage with
Mhm.
coffee in this way, select something for our needs and things like that. So that kind of was the start of it. But I actually took a trip down with a friend to Tijuana to do a coffee cupping out there,
Oh, cool.
and then meeting roasters there in Mexico that were sourcing coffee from origins, from
Hmm.
Mexico, that were utilizing coffee that's grown there was just so cool to witness and inspiring. I left with like so much more knowledge about Mexican coffee and wanting to support that. So that kind of was the start of like um, starting Cafe Cuate. So I approached Nathan and Andrew with the idea of like with our expand when I knew we were going to expand to that space is you know hey, what do you think about this project that I'm thinking? And they're like, yeah, totally, we'll show you how to roast. So essentially they've been training me for the last it's almost been 9 months, I think, and Yeah, with essentially
Cool.
just like me roasting coffee that I'm sourcing.
Do you roast at their roastery too? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's super cool in there. I went for one time to see the process of roasting beans, and it's really cool. There's like so many pallets and different bags from all different places. It's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, and yeah, Mexico has a lot of good coffee shops there, and the coffee is it's like they're very intentional with what they do and roasting, and just like most restaurants in Mexico, like it's probably some of the best places I've ever eaten at, best coffee I've ever had.
I think it's special when you're a coffee producing country. So not all coffee doesn't grow everywhere.
Hmm.
So it's really special that it grows in Mexico, and people in Mexico can work with that, with the lands that and what
Hmm.
it gives them. So that's another reason why I want to support it. I believe in coffee. Like obviously, I have a huge respect for coffee from Ethiopia, like Africa, and things
Hmm.
like that, where it's said to have originated. Um, but since it's traveled throughout history, it's really inspiring to see that it can grow in Mexico and what people have done there. So I'm all about supporting that too.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Hmm.
Well, cheers to that.
Cheers.
Should I say salute? um, so do you have any plans for Gusto? I mean, you guys already been through so many changes now, with the new space add-on, and I know there's always things happening, but do you have anything planned coming up?
Any like immediate things? No, I think like with this remodel we did, that was like a year project, and I think we just finally like launched it essentially like in like November, late November. So it's still pretty fresh and new to us. So we're still kind of learning to navigate that, and so that's kind of just been on my like, working with my team on making that
Mhm.
this new I guess experience or the goals we have with the space. So it's kind of just focused on that right now.
And you have baristas now.
I have two baristas we hired. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
exactly. So it's
added on.
yeah, we added to the team. So I've been working closely with the baristas. I had to like develop the coffee offerings and been working with them on executing that. It's been super fun. Yeah,
Hmm. Yeah, it's different, something other than bread and pastries now.
totally. Yeah.
What are your favorite items on your menu currently?
Hmm. It changes every day. It's like a mood thing for
Hmm.
me. When I have it at my disposal, I guess I was
Yeah.
just like, what am I craving? Um, but I guess I tend to drink um like a cappuccino and eat a concha.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's like my go-to. Those two, nice
Nice.
pairing.
I always love getting your queso, just with butter,
Oh, nice.
just
Yeah,
just
yeah,
simple, and then just coffee. That's my
nice.
go-to. Um, Hopefully we don't make your line any bigger than it already is all the time, but maybe we will now that you're enticing customers to go do that. But it was a pleasure to have you on the podcast today. It was really fun talking to you. Good catching up with you.
Yeah, thank you.
Um, Hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you. Thanks
All
for having me.
right. That was it. And that's your line check for today. Go to Goose to Bread, y'all.